Trustee Reeves.
Here.
Trustee Gaines.
Present.
Trustee Buffalo.
Here.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Public comments to closed session. Public comment announcement pursuant to board policy number 2350. Public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person. All speakers who would like to comment regarding a matter on the agenda must submit a public comment card to the board president or the recording secretary before the point in the meeting at which the agenda item is called. Public comment cards are available at the information table in the middle of the theater, from the recording secretary, or online. And we have no cards for closed session, so we are now going to adjourn to closed session, and we will hopefully be back around 9:30. 11.2.
They're ready. Yes, sir. Please use your microphone.
Sorry. Reconvene to public session. Attendance, roll call.
Student trustee Rivera,
Present.
trustee Harvey,
Here.
trustee Reeves,
Here.
trustee Gaines,
Present.
trustee Buffalo.
Here.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll ask Mr. Buffalo to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Turn, place your hand over your heart, face the flag, and begin with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. May I get a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
Second.
Any discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Report of closed section action. I'm going to read out 2 statements. At the December 13th, 2024 meeting, the Board of Trustees in closed session discussed public employee discipline dismissal release pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The Board of Trustees took action to non-renew the contract of General Counsel. The vote was 4-1 with Trustee Harvey as the no vote and Trustees Adams, Buffalo, Gaines, and Reeves as yes votes. At the December 13, 2024 meeting, the Board of Trustees in closed session discussed public employee discipline dismissal release pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The Board of Trustees in closed session took action to not renew the employment contract of a clerical assistant 3. The vote was 5-0 with Trustees Adams, Buffalo, Gaines, Harvey, and Reeves voting yes. I have no other reportable actions out of closed session from today's closed session. Public comments. Pursuant to Board Policy Number 2350, public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person. All speakers who would like to comment regarding a matter on the agenda must submit a public comment card to the Board President or the recording secretary before the point in the meeting at which the agenda item is called. Public comment cards are available at the information table in the middle of the theater, from the recording secretary, or online. Open forum on non-agenda items. I do have some cards. Mr. Johnson.
He's not here yet. He's on his way right now.
Mr. Bowen, or Dr. Bowen, sorry.
I tell my students that, if they would like, they could call me Mr. Bowen, but it doesn't quite have the same ring as doctor. And that if they ever see me in Costco, I wouldn't mind them screaming out, Dr. Bowen. We are not where I want us to be. Instead of focusing on strengthening this institution, investing in our students, and hiring the most qualified individuals for critical positions, this administration has consistently chosen to engage in waste, in my opinion. For pettiness, time is wasted. For pettiness, resources are wasted. For vendettas, resources are wasted. Precious resources are wasted for retaliation, for intimidation, for favors that deprive all of us for what we could have, which is a bright beacon of light and fire for the community. However, let me be clear at the outset, the AVC is a bright light, and this remains so because of the solid foundation laid by all those in the past and despite efforts that would undermine this foundation. Let's look at the hiring practices. An administrator was hired as a favor after the unwarranted firing of another administrator. That administrator hired their guy. That administrator then hired their guy. The result, We have a program in decline, excuses, high school, blame game, loss of morale, and the question, will the wrongs be made right? If the district truly cared about compliance, and I say that because all of the problems that we have, that I have, the 6 perp charges that are filed, would be solved. We wouldn't have these issues if the district simply complied with the collective bargaining agreement. The irony is that today the administration submitted a proposal for a new CBA. If the district truly cared about the CBA, compliance with the CBA, if it truly cared about accountability, we wouldn't be seeing blatant violations of its own policies to justify investigations against faculty who stand up for their rights. We wouldn't see the abuse of authority to punish faculty who demand that the administration simply follow the rules, faculty who are doing their jobs to the best of their ability and serving the community. We wouldn't see money wasted that could be used for students in our academic and athletics programs, money that's being funneled into unnecessary and extraneous legal fees, external investigations, and attempts to suppress advocacy. And we wouldn't be here dealing with unnecessary and costly conflicts that could have been avoided by simply following the policies already in place. We need to move past this. Imagine what we could accomplish if all this energy was spent building this institution rather than undermining it. Imagine the strength of our academic programs if we invested in hiring the best people instead of investing in ways to silence those who hold leadership accountable. Imagine what we could achieve if the focus was on students, the employees, and the future of the college instead of trying to eliminate those who advocate for fairness. We continue wasting time and resources. What we can do is continue to commit to something better. The question is, are there enough of you up there who will insist that we move past where we're at and insist that we'll move forward? Thank you.
Thank you. Tamara Palmetto.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. Happy Friday. Happy first week done. I'm here to talk this morning because I had an unexpected email that I got this morning from the Emoja coordinators, our faculty coordinators, announcing to the Emoja community and the equity community that they would be stepping down effective June 2025 due to issues. Well, they didn't outline it, but I've heard that there have been quite a number of issues that they have been frustrated with. What was it, in the December board meeting, and I'm not even really sure what to say to reach you guys, honestly. Trustee Buffalo, you mentioned you don't read your emails. I know that employees email you with their concerns. Your constituents email you with their concerns, and I would encourage you to just, crack open the email and see what they're saying. In the December board meeting, Rochelle Hightower was here, and she was talking with you about what the program, the Emoja program, looked like under her leadership. And she mentioned that there were over 500 students in the program at that time when she was leading the program. She also said that at the current time, in December, there were less than 100 or right around 100 students. That's a significant drop if those numbers are correct, and you should be interested to know if those numbers are correct. That should be a concern, a priority. We talk about closing equity gaps. This is one of our most concerning equity gaps, Black and African American students. And a program that directly serves these students is struggling. The faculty coordinators are struggling. They are not feeling heard clearly because if they were, they would be finishing out their terms. I don't know what to say to make things different. But the way that this college is practicing, the way people are being treated is not right. We basically had a director of equity who went out on a stress leave. Their job was retitled so that they couldn't reclaim it when they come back from a 39-month rehire list. How is that right? If you're going to follow employee discipline, if you don't want someone here, if you want to terminate someone, then stand up and be honest and follow the procedure. There is a procedure for employee discipline. It's pretty standard stuff. Verbal warnings, written warnings. I know it's costly, but you know what's more costly? Paying all of the legal firms that we are paying for these actions that employees are bringing to us because we didn't follow procedure. I keep hearing we don't have money to hire faculty and staff. Why don't we have money to hire faculty and staff? Why are we strapped for cash? Did the members of the board know how much we are spending in legal? That would be an interesting question for you to know the answer to. I'm assuming it's a lot of employee salaries that could be paid for with the cost of legal. As a matter of fact, we are paying the employee salary of our last general counsel while paying for another general counsel. And that's just two people. That's not all the firms. I would encourage you to look into programs like Emoja, Puente, Equity, the affinity groups that are now under the VP of Equity, and see what needs to be done. Reach out to the faculty there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ariane Johnson?
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ariane Johnson. I am the regional field rep for the California Federation of Teachers. And I've been assigned to work with the faculty and the classified employees here at Antelope Valley for close to 3 years now. And this is my third time speaking before this board. The first time I came, I introduced myself at a board meeting. The second time I came before this board, I spoke about where I was here to give the board some better clarification about a personal issue that we were dealing with. And today I'm here because there are some issues that are happening within our bargaining units that needs to be addressed. I stand before you today not just as an advocate, but as a witness of troubling pattern of one that is tearing the very foundation of trust, shared governance, and professional integrity at this institution. Let's not sugarcoat this. This is a problem. And that problem is a blatant target of union leaders. The individuals who stand up, who speak out, who fight for the well-being of faculty and staff are now the ones being investigated, disciplined, and harassed. What message does this send? I tell you what it says. It tells every faculty and classified professional on this campus that if they dare to stand up for themselves, if you challenge authority, if you advocate for fairness, then you will be made an example of. It tells them that silence is safer than action, that fear is the price of speaking out, speaking truth to power. And let me tell you something that is unacceptable. This board has a duty to have a moral and ethical responsibility to ensure that this institution operates with fairness and integrity. But what are we seeing? What so many are seeing is a coordinated effort to intimidate and retaliate against those who dare to hold management accountable. Let me be absolutely clear. This federation does not operate on rumors. We do not raise concerns without cause. We do not speak just to make noise. If we are bringing an issue to the forefront, it is because there is something deeply wrong. And if that makes people uncomfortable, then perhaps it's time that we take a look at what and why that discomfort exists. Because if there is smoke, then you can be assured there's a fire nearby. The targeting of Pamela Ford and Dr. Jason Bowen is not just about accountability, it is about ensuring compliance. If
Can you
it
wrap
is,
it up in about 10 or 15 seconds?
I will. It's not about governance, it's about silencing opposition. And so let me close by saying this. I represent 10 contracts for the California Federation of Teachers. And out of my 10 contracts, this location here, where I have 2 contracts, we filed the most grievances, we filed the most perp cases, we deal with the most issues that I deal with any of my campuses. I can tell you in the 4.5 years that I've worked for CFT, I've only had one other campus that I filed a grievance at. This campus, we file grievances on a weekly basis. We deal with PERB cases on a monthly basis. We deal with situations here regularly. I'm often on this campus, dealing with investigations, dealing with personnel issues that rarely rise to a level that require the outside attorneys that we have investigating and the things that we're doing here on this campus. I don't deal with the issues that I deal with on other campuses I deal with here. And at some point, we need to change this. And at one point during my tenure here, we were on a good pathway. When Dr. Jennifer first arrived here, we was on a good pathway. But somewhere along the line, that has changed. It has changed. And we need to figure out how to get back there and how to deal with issues at the lowest possible level. Because right now, we're not. Right now, everything is going to litigation. Everything is going to investigation. Nothing is being solved at the lowest possible level. Managers on this campus are not dealing with issues directly. Everything goes to HR, and that shouldn't be. Our contract says that we will deal with grievances at the lowest possible level, and that's what we're not doing. I would like to see us return back to good governance and good labor relationships on this campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 11, public hearing. Item 11.1, public hearing of the Antelope Valley Community College District, initial proposal to the Antelope Valley Federation of Classified Employees for collective bargaining agreement negotiations for 2025 through 2028. We will now conduct a public hearing to receive input of the Antelope Valley Community College District, initial proposal to the Antelope Valley Federation of Classified Employees for collective bargaining agreement negotiations for 2025-2028. Are there any discussions for this item? Hearing no further discussion, the public hearing is now closed. And we will move on to 11.2. Public hearing of the Antelope Valley Community College District, initial proposal to the Antelope Valley College Federation of Teachers for collective bargaining agreement negotiations for 2025 to 2028. We will now conduct a public hearing to receive input of the Antelope Valley Community College District, initial proposal to the Antelope Valley College Federation of Teachers for collective bargaining agreement negotiations for 2025 through 2028. And I have one comment card, Pamela Ford. $11.2.
What one is it?
11.2 is what's written on the comment card.
The card says 11.2.
No, it should be. What was it? It should be 12.2.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, is there any discussion on this item? Hearing no further discussion, the public hearing is now closed. Moving on to item 12, 12.1, the 2023-2024 District Measure AV and OPEB audit reports.
Good morning, Board of Trustees, President Zallet, Legal Counsel Patty. This morning, we have CWDL, we have John Dominguez here to present the fiscal year 23-24 audit reports. We're going to follow up Mr. Dominguez's presentation with comments from VP of Student Services, Idania Pedron.
Good morning. On behalf of CWDL, happy to be here to just give a brief overview of the results from the June 30th, 2024 audits. And maybe before I do that, just to briefly extend our appreciation to all the staff throughout the district. We have a heavy emphasis in business, finance, and fiscal department, but we are working throughout the campus in a number of areas, financial aid, admissions and records, and really had tremendous support from all staff. So we certainly appreciate that. There's a large volume of requests that go into these audits. I checked, and I think over 1,000 documents were exchanged as part of our review. So we certainly appreciate that, and with that have, overall very positive results that I'll just briefly go into and open for any questions at the end there. In our overview, the services and deliverables, so we're performing the audit of the district where we render 4 opinions. Our first opinion is over the financial statements. Our second opinion is our examination of the internal controls of the districts in relation to their financial reporting and compliance. And then we're also examining the district's compliance with both federal and state requirements. And then in addition, we're performing the Measure AV Bond Financial and Performance Audit under the requirements of Proposition 39, and then also performing the OPEB Trust Audit as well. And so with that, the first opinion that we render on the district's report is that independent auditor's report. We rendered an unmodified opinion. That means that the financial data management provided to us that we subjected our audit procedures over, we felt was accurate, it was complete, the required disclosures throughout all of those audits were present, and again, were accurate and complete as we went through and examined those. And just an overview of that district report, we'll see the management discussion and analysis can be found on pages 4 through 13. That's management's opportunity to provide in kind of a narrative, explanatory portion of the report for reasons for some of the changes from, again, the period that we examined ending June 30th of 2024 to the prior year. And so we noted a slight increase in total assets and deferred outflows. There was a decrease of just over $17.2 million in the liabilities and deferred inflows, and then total net position did increase to $155 million. And we noted the negative unrestricted amount was improved slightly to a negative 5.5 million of the unrestricted there. And again, this is on the full accrual basis of accounting. This is not the governmental funds that are budgeted. This is the full accrual with all long-term items such as capital assets, OPEB, pensions, all those liabilities included as required under GASB. So again, very positive, accurate results on the financials there. And then just concluding the components of the audit, you'll see the detailed notes on pages 20 to 53 of that report. We've got some OPEB and pension schedules in the required supplementary information. And then I mentioned the 4 opinions we render, our second opinion on the internal control, and then the federal and state opinions. And we did have one finding over federal compliance that's noted in the report. That was over the student financial aid cluster. Again, a number of really specific procedures that we're required to look at that the federal government puts out. And so we did have that one instance of noncompliance driven largely by some turnover in the department. And so they're examining that and going to tighten up the controls. So we expect that to be corrected here in the subsequent period. But again, nonetheless, we're required to report that. And so we expect management to correct that. With that, though, overall very positive results, accurate and complete expenditure reporting on the bonds, as well as the OPEB trust audit. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about our procedures or results, anything related to the audit for this period.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Reeves. Microphone.
Your microphone. You do your audit on a percentage basis, or do you examine the actual figures and total them?
So we have to do a little bit of both. So for example, when we're rendering the opinion on the bond financial and performance audit, we do have thresholds of a percentage that we want to encompass. So we have to get a large dollar coverage to feel comfortable rendering our opinion. And then it depends on the area that we're looking at. So for example, cash, we're going to examine 100% of the cash accounts closing as of June 30th of 2024. When we look at revenue or salaries and benefits, for example, we couldn't possibly examine every single pay to every single employee. So we're relying on the control environment, and we are getting a sample and a percentage basis of that to render our conclusion that we think controls are accurate over the hiring process. People are being paid in accordance with board approved schedules. And so we look at that on a sample basis, and then some balance sheet net position items we look at in totality.
Yeah, what's the plus or minus the error? 3%, 1%?
So in our statistical samples, it's supposed to be a 98% or higher level of confidence. So we typically will set those up to have 0 deviations. In some cases, if we have one deviation, that would be reported as a comment because we're not expecting to have any deviations in those samples.
Okay, on the federal deficiency
Yes.
you mentioned, does that have to do with student loans?
It has to do with a provision in the student financial aid cluster where there's a requirement to do a return of funds to the federal government. So there's a specific number of days in an instance where funds are dispersed or awarded to a student who is subsequently determined to be ineligible, or if they withdraw from courses. In certain situations, the institution, the district has a very limited window, generally 45 days, to remit those funds back to the federal government, and that was not done within that timeline.
Now, do you know if there's a moratorium on financial aid?
No.
There's no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Ms. Harvey?
I wanted to know, unmodified, unqualified, are they both the same?
So the terminology used to be unqualified, and about 7-8 years ago, they updated the audit standards, so they essentially mean the same thing. The current terminology in reference to the accuracy of the financial opinion is unmodified, so that's the best opinion at our disposal.
Okay, thank you for that. I think it's important that we understand the terminology. The second part is the financial aid discrepancy or deficiencies that you found. Were those well explained to VP Barr, and what the solutions for making sure that we can have checks and balances on returning money to the federal government? Because I know personally there are penalties involved.
Yes, I think that's very clear, and we fully expect management to have a solution in place that will be prevented going forward. So we'll re-examine that as part of this subsequent period audit.
Thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Gaines?
Actually, he's already answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much. Good presentation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Item 12.2, Office of People, Culture, and Talent and Compliance Update.
Just a moment. Financial aid, Adanya, the Vice President, has a response, an additional report to this item.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning, Superintendent, President Jennifer Zalette, and Michael Adams, Board President, and the rest of the board. It is our pleasure here today, this morning, to talk to you a little bit about our financial response to the audit findings, and hopefully this will be able to answer some of the questions on corrective behavior. Okay, so summary of audit findings. The district received a finding due to not meeting the deadline to return funds to the Department of Ed, as was told earlier. And this is called Return to Title IV, which we sometimes refer to as R2T4. And of course, when student withdraws from school, or the institution calculates how much their Title IV aid is, and so for example, for Pell Grants or student loans, federal loans, they have an earned based on their attendance as well. The college must return under an unearned portion to the Department of Education. And this is, and to get into finding, it's either because it was calculated incorrectly or it was not done within the time frame. And so with this finding, it was too late calculations. And as mentioned, we had a turnover in our financial aid department with the retirement of Nichelle Williams in August. And so during that time in the fall, we did hire a consultant. Can you guys hear me? Yes, okay. We hired a consultant, which I have, that she became and worked with us in the fall. And then starting January, the consultant joined our team, and she is our interim director of financial aid. Her name is Dr. Christina Tangalaka. She's with me here today. She comes to us with a vast amount of background over 15 years in financial aid, is certified in NASFA, and is someone that has worked and retired recently from being the associate dean at Glendale Community College. So I will turn it over to Dr. Tangalakas, who is going to share with you our corrective actions moving forward. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Patron. And thank you to the board and Superintendent President Zeller and other guests for the invitation to present to you. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak with you directly about the corrective actions that we are and will undertake to prevent repeat findings for this or any compliance issue related to the operations and administration of Title IV aid. So this is my 7th campus that I've been full-time staff, and I've been involved with many others as a consultant. So I come with a significant background, 25 years or so in financial aid and higher ed. And so I believe I have sufficient knowledge and the organizational skills to move this forward successfully. One of the deficits that needs to be corrected is that when something as vital as the cash management of federal funds, and I consider our department to be stewards of federal money, that we need to be very accurate and accountable to the department in terms of the timely return, drawing down and return of funds. What created or helped create this finding was that the ownership of this knowledge was contained in one staff member. And when this staff member separated from the district, along with her went the knowledge, which created a deficit among the staff. And this happened either just around the time I became involved with the district, but became fully clear to me until many months later as I began to unravel this complex situation. So one of the things we're going to do and set in place, and that has been immediate, is to cross-train all of our Tech 2s to make them proficient in the return to Title IV calculation. This will prevent the loss of that institutional knowledge, and it will also create a redundancy in a good way to have multiple hands available to take on this workload should it increase. And this is a type of workload that ebbs and flows throughout the year, and we do see peak times. We are also working on our return to Title IV policy, and our process and policy manuals will be updated to reflect these new protocols. I'm also in the process of evaluating our technology to look for ways to optimize our process and to increase accuracy. Whenever humans are involved, there's a higher level of possibility of error. And so I want to leverage our technology to the greatest extent possible to bring increased optimization to that process and to increase our accuracy. We're also implementing accountability measures to cross-check work. So there'll be a quality control piece implemented. And we're also documenting the process used to calculate the R2T4 amounts. So R2T4, while it's a common process in any financial aid office or Title IV institution, it is highly complex, and it's not really well understood generally outside of the financial aid office and leadership. Students are eligible for the aid that they earn. And if a student withdraws from the institution, either officially by reaching out to enrollment and records or unofficially by ceasing to engage in academic activity, we need to do a calculation to determine whether they've earned a percentage or all of their aid. And if they have not earned 100% of their aid, they are only eligible for the percentage that they've earned, and the rest of the money needs to go back to the Department of Ed if they have received it. So that is essentially, in basic terms, the process of returning Title IV aid to the department. We're also have a strong working relationship with fiscal services, and so I have a strong partner there to streamline our implementations. So I'm ready to take any questions that you may have at this time.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
do.
Mr. Reeves?
On my Facebook page, I have a United States congressman who was complaining about the dissolution of the Department of Education. And I asked him if he has heard anything, how these funds will be administered if that department is abolished. Has there been any memo to you or Dr. Zellick about the administration of these loans if that department is abolished?
There's a great deal of concern in the industry about this executive order that we know has been pending for over a week, and my colleagues in the industry, including the UC system, the CSU system, are preparing memos in response for the inevitable announcement of the dissolution of the Department of Education. We, have a great deal of concern about serving our students and continuing to create economic equity with our student population. I have not received anything internal other than shared concern and preparation. This information is coming to us, which is an unusual and out of the ordinary process of through executive action. So we are prepared and expect to receive that publicly at the same time the general public does.
Okay.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes, thank you so much. What is your name again?
My name is Dr. Christina Tangalakis.
Dr. Tangalakis?
Tangalakis, yes.
Tangalakis. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I am very sorry that you are explaining any deficiency in financial aid. Dr. Padron?
Padron.
Once she has done her work, is it ever checked again?
Well, yes, I think that, and there's checks and balances, and of course, as you heard earlier, the accreditation is going to be making sure that we work together and making sure that we have all the procedures in place, and we work with our own internal audit individual and have for the past numerous years. So there is also a great partnership there.
I just wanted to offer a bit of a suggestion to you, VP Patron. I know you're doing so much in these deadlines and timelines, so I'm not sitting up here fussing about the 45-day window. The internal auditor needs to give you a heads up 2 weeks before it's due. Those need to be part of your processes so that you don't have these problems again. If you have an assistant or maybe the financial aid person here would be able to set up those timelines for notification for federal deadlines. And I just know from my own experiences that will really help a lot and make sure that you don't miss those. And what is your touch point with finance? Like once it's missed, is it just missed and then when we come around to the audit, we realize it? Or is there oversight from the finance department into financial aid? I'm just trying to figure out for the public how it works.
Yes, so.
I'd be happy to answer that question, Ms. Harvey.
Thank you.
There are already built-in checks and balances in the drawing down and returning of Title IV aid. The Financial Aid Office can authorize money to be drawn down or returned, but the fiscal side does the actual drawing down and return based on our authorization, as that's part of our agreement with the Department of Ed to be a Title IV institution, that we have that separation. We cannot be family members or any way related, and I want to make it clear to the board and to campus leadership that there's no incentive not to be fully compliant with Title IV regulations. I have, on a personal level, my own reputation, but also primarily the health of the risk that this institution and district takes. And those are my primary concerns, are to continue to be in good standing with the Department of Education, to continue to serve our students, because ultimately this is an equity issue and we need to continue uninterrupted to bridge the economic barriers to student success.
This is excellent. I wish you the very best. I'm sorry to take so much time, but without financial aid, we don't have a college. So thank you.
Ms. Gaines?
Yes, I too want to welcome you, Dr. Tankalakis, to Antelope Valley Community College. I have a couple of questions. If my memory serves me right, this is not our first year having issues with financial aid in the financial aid department. I think this is an ongoing situation, and this audit is predicated on 23-24, correct? Not this year. And I also know Title IV, this is not the first year in 23-24 that the expectation is that if we do not use all, if we do not, students are not here to receive that the funds are expected to go back. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. I thought I heard you say that we lost an employee, and because we lost this employee, this kind of all happened. Are you telling me that predicated on one employee, we did not meet an audit expectation or a Title IV expectation?
There were several employees. It was also the director of financial aid. It was the employee who was responsible for it, which we thought that person already had trained before she left. And then we had several other vacancies. And currently we have 4 vacancies in financial aid.
And I'm a little concerned this year. You hear rumblings in the community, and I have people that come to me every once in a while, and they imply more recently for the fall of 24, which would not be encompassed in this audit, that the students were really received the financial aid late. Many of them, not all, but some of them really received their financial aid late. Is this going to be an issue since we're dispersing the aid late, that we're also going to be late again in returning any amounts that should go back to Title IV?
Those two processes are unrelated, and I need to, I don't know that I have time to go through our disbursement process, but that's equally regulated. We don't draw down funds until we can confirm that a student is enrolled and that their application for financial aid is complete. We need to clear up all conflicting information and all missing documentation before a student is deemed eligible for federal and many state aid programs. So when a student is enrolled with the institution as a degree-seeking student in an eligible program and they have a complete financial aid application, we order the money based on their enrollment on our disbursement day, and then the fiscal side of the house draws down the funds. We disperse it, and no funds can remain undispersed for more than 3 days before they're sent back. So the accuracy is critical. So while we have disbursement days and we disperse multiple times during a term, I'm concerned about the term late because students have to reply to us. Students must respond. And so I'm concerned that, or I just need to make clear to the board that this is a partnership with the student and they need to be timely in our requests for them to receive their aid on time. And the Title IV calculation, it must be done within 45 days of a student's separation from the institution, either formally or informally. So that's a rolling date, and that could be every day we will have returns. And so that's one of the complexities of this. It doesn't all go back in one lump sum. It goes back piece by piece as students appear on our fully withdrawn list.
And if I may interject, Trustee Gaines, one of the mitigating factors in last fall was the revision of the FAFSA form, and that was a nationwide catastrophe, to be quite honest, because
that's what happened, I think, mainly for last year. I was going to interject. Thank you, Doctor.
And I just have one more question. I think we would all agree that completing the FAFSA, we have many students in our community college who perhaps do not have the parental support in filling out that document and may come to the conclusion that once I filled it out, I'm done. I'm going to get my aid, not knowing that a few weeks later that it may need another signature of theirs or something along those lines. Um, what are we doing to support our students to make sure that they're not a month into class where their lab teachers are expecting lab kits, et cetera, and they don't have the funds to buy these? What are we doing as a community college to really put our students first and make sure that they get this financial aid in a timely manner, not 3 or 4 weeks after they've already been sitting in class looking like the isolated student who doesn't have what they need to be truly engaged in that learning?
We're doing outreach, and not only that, if the student is missing information, we call and make sure we're continuously, in communication with them. We also have open hours where we offer online where they can drop in and get any questions asked. We're also going out to and partnering up with our outreach team that goes out to local high schools to give them information and help with the process. We also have some avid, we have counselors in the local high schools with us that if there's any issues with any of the students with their financial aid, they're directly connected with our department. And so we're doing as much as we can as far as making sure that as we see the students coming through and if they're missing something, it's automatically we're calling them to make sure that they have all the paperwork so that we don't have a delay in disbursement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good presentation. Now I can go to 12.2? Okay. 12.2, Office of People, Culture, and Talent and Compliance Updates. I do have one speaker card, so we'll hear the speaker first and then the presentation. Pamela Ford. Okay, let's hear the presentation then.
Okay. Good morning, Board of Trustees, President Zealot, and colleagues. Thank you for providing me with this opportunity to speak with you today regarding compliance efforts and procedures occurring within the Department of People, Culture, and Talent. My presentation today will highlight the federal and state landscapes in which we are currently operating and will share high-level data regarding investigatory statistics at AVC. Institutions of higher education in the United States receive regulatory requirements from multiple sources. Highlighted on this screen, you will see 3 key influences shaping the federal landscape regarding sex/gender-based harassment and discrimination. As an institution of higher education in the United States, we must abide by the 1972 Title IX Education Amendment Act, the 1990 Clery Act, which explains our requirements for crime reporting, timely warnings, and prevention education efforts, and the 2013 Violence Against Women Act, also known as VAWA. The 2013 VAWA Reauthorization Act expanded definitions of sexual misconduct and expanded protections for students and employees. Additionally, as an institution of higher education in California, we must also abide by SB 493, which was enacted in January of 22 and expanded reporting requirements of employees pertaining to actual or suspected allegations of sexual misconduct. These laws and regulations clearly articulate due process procedures for parties involved in investigations and provide frameworks in which schools must operate. Some of the requirements include prompt, fair, and impartial processes, timely notices to all parties, equal access to information being used to make a determination, extension of timelines for good cause, and simultaneous notice of outcome. As you are probably aware, Title IX has been and remains a hot topic for colleges and universities in the United States. While it has been in effect since 1972, since 2011, we have repeatedly received updated and oftentimes contradictory information regarding the requirements and enforcement by the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights. In May of 2020, then President Trump issued new Title IX regulations that were effective August of that same year. Former President Biden's administration issued new regulations effective August 2024 in response to Trump's 2020 regulations. Several schools, including AVC, did not implement the 2024 regulations as we were subject to an injunction from the court in Kansas. On January 9th, 2025, the Supreme Court vacated the 2024 regulations, and we are back under the 2020 regulations. The Office for Civil Rights issued guidance on January 31st, 2025, so about a week ago, informing schools that they would only enforce the 2020 regulations and modify the definition of what it means on the basis of sex. The federal definition no longer includes sex stereotypes and sexual orientation. Additionally, President Trump issued the executive order limiting the definition of sex to male and female. The good news is that nothing changes here at AVC, as we have continually operated under the 2020 regulations, so all of our ongoing investigations comport themselves with the current federal guidelines. It is significant to note that while federal law supersedes state law, we also must abide by California law, which has a more inclusive definition of on the basis of sex and provides additional protections, including gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. So you can see the pendulum is continually shifting here. As the Title IX coordinator for the district, I stay abreast of all requirements and continually evaluate our procedures to ensure compliance. Just to underscore the fluidity of this current landscape, an additional OCR Dear Colleague letter was issued just this week on February 4th. I have the presentation was created before this new Dear Colleague letter was issued. It doesn't change anything for us, but that just shows how we're constantly getting new updates. On this slide, you will see a very high-level overview of the Title IX investigatory process at AVC. The process is initiated when we, as the district, become on notice and includes multiple opportunities for individuals to review and comment upon the data collected prior to the issuance of an outcome. I want to take a moment to explain the concept of notice here. The district is on notice when the Title IX coordinator or an official with authority, also known as an OWA, has actual or suspected knowledge of misconduct. An OWA is a person who has the authority to implement corrective action and/or who others perceive as having the ability to enact change. So essentially, it's someone who comes to a district employee because they think they can help them. Upon notice, my team sends outreach to the impacted party, informing them of their rights, resources, and reporting options. Should an individual impacted request an investigation, the Title IX coordinator must then assess for jurisdiction. Under the 2020 regulations, we only have jurisdiction under occasions, events, or circumstances where the district has substantial control over both the respondent and the context in which the allegation of harassment occurred. I must consider whether the reporting party was accessing or attempting to access the district's program or opportunities or educational activities at the time. It must also have occurred in the United States. However, if it does not meet Title IX jurisdiction, we can still proceed with an investigation under state law and our relevant BPs/APs, even if a process or an investigation was dismissed under Title IX. There are times when I, as the Title IX coordinator, must initiate an investigation without a participatory reporting party. These instances can include, but are not limited to, pattern behavior, multiple impacted parties, threats of violence, and instances that involve minors. On this slide, you will see the process for an investigation. It is significant to note that the only difference between a Title IX investigation and an unlawful discrimination, a hostile environment, and/or discrimination, harassment, and retaliation investigation is that the parties do not conduct evidence review and do not undergo a live hearing as they do in Title IX investigations. I want to take this opportunity to share some data with you pertaining to recent investigations here at AVC. During the 2023-2024 fiscal year, People, Culture, and Talent sent out 58 outreaches conducted 27 intake appointments. 14 of those appointments resulted in formal investigations. The chart shows the breakdown of the case types that were alleged. Of the investigation conducted, this chart shows that the majority of the cases were initiated by employees reporting other employees. It is significant to note that only 3 cases involved temporary employees. The vast majority involved permanent employees. Thus far in 2024-2025 fiscal year, we have sent 50 outreaches, conducted 12 intake appointments, which resulted in 8 investigations and 3 informal resolutions. As we are only about halfway through this fiscal year, you can see that campus reporting is increasing, which is a good thing, as that means that people are aware of their rights and resources and making us aware of their environment. Similar to the previous year, the reporting parties during this year are also employees reporting misconduct of their peers. On this month's board agenda, you will find the 2024 AVC Annual Security Report, also known as ASR, per the Clery Act requirements. For more information, you can see BPAP 3515 regarding reporting requirements. I encourage you to review the report at your convenience. Additionally, the report is posted on the AVC website. PCT is a highly regulated area with frequently changing landscapes of requirements. To illustrate the constant modifications in the requirements and policies, I highlighted these 4 state bills. In the interest of time, I won't go into detail on all of these updates, but I can provide you details later if requested. Finally, I wanted to provide you with an update regarding COVID-19. Effective February 3rd, the order pertaining to reporting, tracking, and testing has expired. The district has since removed all of our signs. Regardless of local regulations, however, the district encourages everyone to engage in wellness practices learned during the pandemic to help keep our community safe. I want to take a moment to thank Harmony Miller and Rhonda Burgess in PCT for managing and tracking COVID over the past few years, and for the entire community for assisting in stopping the spread. I also would like to take this opportunity to introduce our new Interim Director of Benefits and Risk Management, Christian Hoopman, who is here in the crowd with us today. Thank you for your time, and I will now entertain questions.
Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Gaines?
VP Halsberg, in the transition from 2024 back to 2020, my assumption is there's a Title IX committee. Is there a Title IX committee on our campus?
We do not have a Title IX committee.
So who in either 24 or 20, who would be the appeals person on our campus?
The appeal for an investigation? Is that what you're asking? I believe our board policy states that it's our superintendent president.
Okay. And so we have no other...
And then they can also appeal. People are always welcome to appeal to OCR, the CRD, which is California... the old name for DFEH, state regulatory opportunities. So they can also avail themselves to those rights as well.
So then I'm going to understand that at the community college, we do not have to have a 5-member Title IX committee.
No, you're talking about a sanctioning board or a decision-making board?
Yes.
Okay, so no, we have an outside decision maker, and so a third party comes in and adjudicates or hears the sides of all the parties when it comes to a Title IX hearing and makes their decision. It is a one-person body.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Yes.
Ms.
Dr.
Harvey?
Helzberg, what is your goal for the Office of People, Culture, and Talent? What are you ultimately hoping to achieve?
So I think that we have a really wonderful opportunity here, right, to help shape the culture and the future of AVC. Our employees are our biggest investment and our most important our resource to the community and to those we serve, our students. So to ensure that and we're really lucky in PCT. We get to stay with an employee through their high of highs and their low of lows, right? We see the entire life cycle of an employee from onboarding all the way to separation, be it through resignation, retirement, or what have you, right? So to help develop the employee, maybe they'll get a promotion throughout their tenure here at AVC, and to help really shape and develop. So there was really intention when Dr. Zealot I mean, I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but when we changed the name from HR to PCT, because that really shows the investment in people, the culture, and talent. We are developing talent within our community and within our current employee pool as well. So human resources has this is more than a transactional pushing paper relationship. This is a personal relationship.
I appreciate that. Over 20 years ago, one of my first jobs was human resources. And one of the terms that was new at that time was human capital management. And we have to realize, be it a college, Boeing, whoever the organization may be, the most important people are those people that work there, the people that you serve. It is for any institution or any company. So making sure that the life cycle of the employee is well spent, full of growth and advancement is a wonderful goal. And I applaud that. What I would say is that something that we leave out way too much is longevity. So we have to realize that there are people who are committed to positions and they want to be in them for a long time. And if a person isn't cutting the mustard, then I would think in a learning organization where we are all well versed in leadership theory, that we would be able to get people where we want them to be, right?
I think that that is the goal. Every situation is different, and so I don't want to make a generalized statement. But look, if we're talking brass tacks, right? Recruitments are very expensive. So even from that angle, we don't want to have employee turnover. And AVC is a beacon within our community, and in order to keep it that way, we're a huge employer. I second to the defense and the companies in the area, but we continue to invest in our own, that is evident throughout our organization as well. As you can see, multiple people have started as short-term hourlies, temporary positions, and are in management positions, and we will continue to invest and grow.
I appreciate you saying that because I think it's important for the public to hear. It's the only reason why I asked the question.
I appreciate that. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Ms. Ford, were your questions answered?
I would like to know, under Title IX, is there a component for mediation?
Is that the extent of your question?
No. Do you want me to just ask all my questions?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
what types of cases, if mediation is a part of Title IX, what types of cases would be subject to mediation? I didn't notice anything about mediation on your chart. And if some have gone to mediation, how many have been successfully resolved? And what position in HR conducts the intake for Title IX complaints, and what type of degree and training is required for this role? Is this a CMS position or is it a classified position? And is there a job description available that can answer those questions? Also, you mentioned there's an outside decision maker. If there's an outside decision maker and they determine that a Title IX case is unsubstantiated, then why is the district allowed to apply its own discipline? And the last question is there a total cost to date for the cases that have been adjudicated as far as Title IX complaints? If you didn't get that, I'll email it to you.
Do you want to?
VP Helsper, please feel free to answer.
I was trying to jot down questions as you said them, Ms. Ford, so I think I got them. So question one was regarding mediation. There is informal resolution, which is a potential option. So if you go back to the slide that I showed you, the initial one where you had formal complaint, right? Upon a formal complaint, if I assess for a jurisdiction and I accept it, we have two roads we can go. We can go through informal resolution or formal investigation. Informal resolution must be an agreement between the coordinator and all parties involved, and it's kind of a choose your own adventure outcome. I can't give you a cookie cutter answer. Mediation is not something that I would advocate, nor is a best practice in the field when it comes to Title IX. You don't put the parties in the same room together to hash it out. More of an informal resolution is maybe there is a training, all will agree to a training requirement or something like that. There is no intake coordinator at PCT. We have a people culture and talent assistant, and her name is Miss Blanca Rodriguez. She has undergone training through ATIXA as well as with myself. It's a CMS position, and yes, she does have a JD, a job description, and her and myself are the ones who conduct the intakes, depending. Also, Harmony Miller, our director of PCT, sometimes pinch hits as well. I wrote decision maker. I don't really remember the entirety of that question.
To answer your question about classification, all employees in people, culture, and talent are confidential employees.
Did you want me to re-ask the question?
Okay, so I'm sorry.
I can ask the question again.
Would this be better done as maybe a meeting between the two of you?
No, I think this is good information for the public. I just wanted to know if...
But this is the board's meeting.
I can repeat my question. If this is, if...
Maybe Ms. Ford should step to the microphone just for the record.
Oh.
Thank you.
I think this is a good question that an answer the public needs to hear. If you stated that there's an outside decision maker, if the outside decision maker comes to the conclusion that the findings are unfounded, then why is the district allowed to apply its own discipline? Did you get the... Okay.
We have not had a Title IX investigation come to a decision of unfounded, but I can't really speak to specifics because these would be personnel or student situations.
I'm not asking for specifics.
So that's the answer then.
Okay, and then I just wanted to say that mediation doesn't get limited because...
We need the microphone used for the sake of our interpreters.
Okay, mediation I'm certified in mediation. And mediation doesn't necessarily have to take place in the room with the two people involved. So if that's a step that could be utilized, I think we should think about that if the person affected would want that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, thank you very much. Good presentation. Item 13, consent agenda. May I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda items by unanimous consent?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.1, selection of one board member to represent the district in the Antelope Valley School Boards Association for 2025. Do we have any volunteers?
I'd like to nominate Barbara Gaines.
Any, a second?
A second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Barbara. 14.2, approval of side letter of agreement between Antelope Valley College Federation of Teachers and Antelope Valley Community College District regarding respiratory therapy program director. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.3, approval of audits and financials 2023-2024, district audit, major AV financial statements, major AV performance audit, and OPEB. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.4, approval of additional funds for the agreement between Fagan, Friedman, and Full Frost LLP, F3 Law, and Antelope Valley Community College District for professional legal services. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I have a comment card, Pamela Ford. Comment card, Pamela Ford. 14.4.
I was just a little confused. Is this a final contract ending? And is this a new contract beginning, or is this just the end?
The contract is still in the contract period. It's coming back to the board to raise the not to exceed amount.
Okay, so it's not a final contract.
It has ending dates on it, but what we're asking the board to do is raise the not to exceed limit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.5, approval of amendment to our professional services agreement between McDougal, Beamer, Foley, Lyon, Mitchell, and Erickson, a professional corporation, and Antelope Valley Community College District to increase funds for legal services and Title IX live hearing decision-making. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have one comment card, Dr. Bowen.
Thank you, everyone. I do not dispute the need for such services. However, I would like to express some concern. So I'm aware there may be more of 2 investigations that are ongoing, and they are in violation of the board policy governing that particular investigation. I mean, there's actually 2 policies that govern these types of investigations, 3434 and 3435. And regardless of which one you would apply to these 2 particular investigations, the college is out of compliance with its own policies and also out of compliance with the collective bargaining agreement. there's a third investigation, Title IX investigation that I'm aware of that in my opinion shouldn't even have begun. This is an interesting situation because I am also aware of complaints submitted against at least 2 administrators, and should any of those allegations have been substantiated, they would have been exceptionally severe enough to warrant termination, in my opinion. And yet, those complaints were not designated as Title IX complaints. So a concern regarding the current procedures at Antelope Valley College is that the process is being weaponized and used inappropriately. And administrators in particular are being shielded by administrators. If we were to comply with the collective bargaining agreement and the board policies and procedures in carrying out these investigations, I believe that the expenditure of capital that has occurred over the last several years would have been not have occurred, and because it would have not been necessary. In this current case, if I read correctly, I may misremember here, $240,000 is being allocated in addition to what has already been allocated, where we are now at a point where the maximum is now reset to $400,000 a year for these investigations. If we simply complied with our current policies, I believe we would cut down substantially on extraneous investigations and hearings and all of that. And that money could be used, for example, to solve a large variety of problems that we currently have. For example, we could ensure that the laundry facilities and athletics are state-of-the-art. We could hire adjunct faculty to teach courses. There's a lot we can do with that money. I was just thinking about $245,000. I have a lot of personal problems. I know some of you already believe that, but $245,000 would solve all my problems. Anyway, this money, if it were invested in the community, would do a lot of good, and yet it is being used so wastefully. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. And I'm actually surprised that the board would support this and not ensure that the processes are followed, because my understanding is that there are many of you who have a philosophy of fiscal responsibility. And yet, here we are, yet again, spending money on attorneys, where if we could get to a point where we were in the past, say 10 plus years ago, where we're resolving matters at the lowest level, working hard to bridge gaps between people, human beings, we wouldn't be in this situation where we have to waste so much money.
Thank you. Any further discussion on 14.5?
Yes, Mr. President.
Please come on up, Ms. Ford.
We're on 14.5.
Is that the one about the increase in the?
It's one of the ones on increases.
Well, this won't be long.
We had your comment card for 14.4, which was a similar item.
Okay, well, I didn't get called up for 14.4.
Yes, you did, ma'am. You asked the
Listen,
question about
all I want to know is the $240,000 is the salary of the internal legal counsel, Bridget Cook. So now paying $240 for adding $240 combined with her salary makes it what Jason said, $480,000. And then if you consider the hotel stay, transcriptions of notes and so forth, we're increasing our legal fees, and the targeted results are the same against employees.
Thank you. Any further discussion on 14.5?
Yes, Mr. President. We've had a lot of discussion today about law firms, investigations, concerns, etc. I'm proposing an amendment to this motion that whenever an employee or a student express a concern to HR or to the administration, that they are assigned a number, and that number will be followed until the end of the concern is addressed. And those numbers will be compiled and available for the board to see how these concerns are addressed. I believe we need to keep track of this on a monthly basis to see if these items are being resolved, and they may be resolved without an investigation and outside counsel. So therefore, I'm proposing that all these concerns be assigned a number and a tally be kept and available for the board on a monthly basis to see how these concerns are addressed. That's my motion.
I'm advised that that cannot be part of the contract.
A local procedure, or, to be clear on your amendment, what we're voting on is a legal contract between Antelope Valley College and this firm. So
He just wants to track how many people come in through that firm. So let's say we have an extra additional $240,000 for a specific firm. He wants to know how many people are they serving and that type of thing. I think it's more of oversight of use is what Mr. Reeves is trying to achieve, Dr. Zalat. But I'm sure there's a solution that you're aware of.
absolutely. We have internal tracking, and while the board is informed monthly, we could compile that information for the board in closed session because this involves confidential matters. We could compile that information such that you follow the numbers. Because you currently get that, it's just not collective information.
With all the concerns and investigations, it needs to be followed in an orderly fashion. And
Understood.
if you have a number, some of the cities do that in complaints to the cities, that they assign a number and you can track it. And also, the entity can contact the person making the concern and let them know the status of their case. And not only that, the board can track it and see if these concerns are being addressed. This waiting 6 months to handle something and all this and hearing about it is not acceptable. These things need to be tracked and resolved, and perhaps many of these investigations don't have to take place. These things can be resolved in the office.
Understood, sir. Tracking is happening. Board communication with people making complaints and that kind of thing is not part of the policy of investigations or Title IX or any of our processes through people, culture, and talent, and would be significant exposure for the board. I don't think you're suggesting that. What I can make sure that the board gets is a comprehensive compilation so that you see month to month the progress of things. The timelines and the processes take the time they take, and the timeline and length and duration of these things are not solely dependent upon the district. It's also dependent on cooperation from people involved in these investigations. And so often things get extended, not necessarily because of the district's timelines and intentions.
Well, I don't withdraw the motion.
I'm not asking you to, and it's up to the board to do what it does with the motion.
Is there a second to the motion? Motion dies for lack of a second. Going back to the original motion, is there any further discussion?
What number are we on, President Adams?
14.5.
Thank you.
Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Was that a nay at the end?
It's a nay.
And so that passes with 4 yes votes, 1 nay vote. 14.6, approval of educational service plan. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second?
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 4 yes votes, 1 absent. 14.7, approval of clinical affiliation agreement between AVORS Medical Group, and Antelope Valley Community College for the Medical Office Assisting Program. May I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 4 yes vote and 1 absent. 14.8, approval of clinical affiliation agreement between Chamberlain University and Antelope Valley College to allow graduate students the opportunity to precept with AVC nursing faculty. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yes. The opportunity to precept, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar, Dr. Salat. Looks like a great opportunity. What are we doing there?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I couldn't hear the last part.
Oh, it's okay. It says that graduate students would have the opportunity to precept with AVC nursing faculty. Sounds like a good opportunity for students. I'm just trying to figure out what is it.
Yes, so precepting is coming alongside the faculty, and when graduate students are precepting, it's almost like a student teaching experience.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 4 yes votes and 1 absent. 14.9, approval of clinical affiliation agreement between Magic Stone Child Care Incorporated and Antelope Valley Community College Medical Office Assistant Program. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 4 yes votes, 1 absent. 14.10, approval of master service agreement between Complio System, American Data Bank, and Antelope Valley College for background and drug screening services required by clinical site Antelope Valley Healthcare. May I hear a motion?
So move.
May I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.11, approval of the 2024-2025 spring men's volleyball and men and women's track and field sports schedules. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.12, approval of the non-resident and capital outlay fee rates for 2025-2026. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.13, approval of online tutoring services with Link Systems International Incorporation. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.14, approval of amendment number 1 of service agreement between North State Environmental and Antelope Valley College for removal of hazardous waste. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.15, approval of elevator and wheelchair lift maintenance and repairs agreement between TK Elevator Corporation and Antelope Valley College. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.16, approval of contract between Asset Works LLC and Antelope Valley College for fixed asset inventory services. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. With the board's indulgence, I'd like to combine 14, 17, 18, 19, and 20 because they're all dealing with scheduled maintenance funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. I want to discuss 1417. This contract for labor and material for drainage, this doesn't have anything to do with our giving the city permission to take some of our property.
No, sir, this is not about the 30 acres.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. With the board's indulgence, I'd like to combine 1421 and 1422 as they both deal with Measure AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Advice?
Approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 15, informational items. There are 3 items for information. Please review them at your convenience. 16, reports and announcements. 16.1, Academic Senate. Al Huntsman.
Good morning. I was just checking my watch to make sure it was still morning. Good morning, trustees, President Zealot, Ms. McClure, Mr. Wang. I have a few different items to report on. The first one I want to let you know about is that yesterday we had our first Academic Senate meeting of the spring term, and at that we approved a resolution that I would like to read to you concerning support for CTE credentialing and column advancement. Whereas numerous industry-recognized certification and training bodies, such as the American Welding Society, Weld Ed, Automotive Service Excellence, and Inter-Industry Conference on Auto Collision Repair, provide rigorous training, credentialing, and/or certification that ensures expertise and instructional capability in career and technical education fields. And whereas contract comparisons with institutions such as Cerritos College and Kern County Community College District demonstrate that other community colleges recognize alternative credentialing methods, training, and experience, enabling competitive compensation and faculty retention. And whereas industry salaries for trade professionals in fields such as welding and electrical work significantly outpace AVC's faculty salaries, making it difficult to attract and retain experienced industry professionals as educators. And whereas permitting trade-certified educators to achieve master's or teaching credential equivalency based on certifications, credentials, training, or professional experience from recognized organization would strengthen Antelope Valley College's ability to recruit and retain qualified CTE faculty, ultimately enhancing student success. Now, therefore, the Academic Senate of Antelope Valley College recommends to the AVC Faculty Union and to the AVC District the adoption of credential equivalency criteria, including training, certifications, and experience leading to column advancement for career and technical education faculty. Again, we adopted that unanimously yesterday at our meeting. Please note that while, of course, we do not have the purview over salaries and benefits, we do have purview in credentials, and so that's what we're weighing in on and recommending to the district and the union to bargain over the salary advancement. Next, I want to appreciate the board for listening to us, because I know it's not always easy to listen to us. Sometimes we get up here and tell you things you don't want to hear that much. And I want to tell you that I also heard you respond at the last board meeting, and I appreciated your comments. And I want to encourage you to continue asking your questions, to continue doing your due diligence, and to be a board that, you know, makes the best decisions that you can. Somewhat related to that, I want to acknowledge that Wine Walk tickets are now available. And I'm going to be buying at least 2. So I don't want to give them to just one board member. I want to spread that out a little bit. So please, either contact me or I'll contact you. We'll work that out. Finally, as I usually do every month, I want to acknowledge some faculty. In this particular one, I really want to acknowledge some faculty that work in our first responder, training first responders, and this is especially relevant, I think, because of the disaster, catastrophe. I'm not sure even if that's the right word that we've endured in the LA County over the last month or so. So I want to acknowledge the following. Darren Waters. Darren has been with the college for 3.5 years and is as an EMT instructor. His commitments to student success extends beyond the classroom as he consistently supports EMT students on both the Lancaster and Palmdale campuses. Notably, he spent 20 hours of his own time ensuring that the Palmdale EMT classroom was fully stocked, cleaned, and organized for this spring term. Additionally, he actively assists with the Fire Academy and Wildland Fire Academy, serves on the AP&P committee, and has volunteered to run the first aid booth in the upcoming Science Olympiad. Captain Mark Gilman is completing his 4th year at AVC and has been instrumental in revitalizing our Fire Academy. He has dedicated countless hours to ensuring the program meets State Fire Academy requirements, playing a key role in accreditation efforts and program development. His leadership has been essential in strengthening and expanding fire training opportunities for our students. Finally, Lori Gilmore, a former wildland firefighter and longtime adjunct instructor, is now in her 4th year as a full-time faculty member. She has worked tirelessly to restore and enhance the wildland fire program after it was put on hold due to COVID-19. Throughout her tenure, both as an adjunct and a full-time faculty member, she has gone above and beyond, working with the AVC Marauder fire crew without compensation. Her dedication has provided our graduates with invaluable hands-on experience, many of whom have successfully transitioned into careers within the wildland fire services. These faculty are exemplary members of our college community, but also our broader community, and obviously these are positions we desperately need. So, hats off to them. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Antelope Valley College Federation of Teachers, Dr. Jason Bone.
I just want to say, first of all, good morning. And I appreciate all of the work that all of you do. This circumstance that I find myself in, I was tricked into this position, by the way. I'm being union president. I blame Susan Laurie for tricking me. First of all, I want to thank Trustee Buffalo for meeting with me a few Fridays ago. We had coffee, and we had a good talk. And I am looking forward to many more talks like that, not with just Trustee Buffalo, but with all of you. And if there's anything that I would like you to learn about me now, it's that I do not enjoy saying the things that I do to all of you so regularly. I do not enjoy writing perp charges. Now, we've submitted 6 perp charges. Kind of proud of this. I authored 100% of the language of 5 of them. I've had to learn how to do it. I should not, as a union president, have to learn how to write and file and serve perp charges. Now, all of the issues that we have, the 6 perp charges that are currently ongoing, we have hearings scheduled for 2 of them that are now consolidated. All of these matters, all of the problems, everything that I bring to you could be solved if one thing is done. And hear me out here. We all follow the collective bargaining agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Antelope Valley College Federation of Classified Employees, Pamela Ford.
It appears credence is given to those with their polished presentations and their penchant for wordsmithing. And when unions present legitimate concerns, we're met with opposition, indifference, and turning a blind eye to the issues. And we are accused of not bringing the facts. Well, here are the facts. The district employs legal counsel to provide frisk training to management. The training aligns, believe it or not, with the collective bargaining agreement. As an example, management's encouraged to build healthy teams and departments and encourage trust between supervisors and employees. That's Article 1 of the collective bargaining agreement. Employer-employee relations. Progressive discipline, step by step, working with employees to improve if there are deficiencies. Employees should feel supervisors are on their side and want them to succeed. That's Article 17 of the collective bargaining agreement. Progressive discipline. Frisk encourages partnering with unions if there is an issue with an employee and help them find a resolution. This works, I know, because I've done it. I participated many times working with managers to resolve, to end up in a positive resolution for both the employee and the supervisor. Proactive managers call me at the start of an issue, not at the end. This is the key factor that I think you've all missed. And this is what we were told in the Frisk training, which I'm missing today because I'm here with you. If due process is not followed and the district terminates an employee, no hearing officer is going to take away an employee's property rights, which is their salary. That's why Keena's case was so significant, because there was no progressive discipline, no opportunity to address the information that addressed inequities that could have been erroneous, and there was absolutely no negative evaluations or write-ups. Yet, you all voted 4-0 to terminate this employee. So now this is going to revisit you, and that's a fact. Although HR asserts CMS does not have due process rights, that's what was asserted all during Keena's case, because they are at-will employees, which is a term I detest. At the last training session, I asked the legal counsel about due process for confidential management supervisory employees. And your legal counsel's response was all employees have the right to due process. If the collective bargaining agreement and Frisk training align, why the opposition? Who are you really opposing? You're opposing your own legal counsel. Why aren't you encouraging your employees to encourage management to abide by the guiding principles of Frisk training and the CBA, APs and BPs and so forth? Just this past week, I cannot plan a week, the district has ignored responding to the Federation's request for information, violating EERA. They've conducted unilateral changes to the collective bargaining agreement by not adhering to Article 14.0 of the collective bargaining agreement, which is classified hiring procedures. Another manager committed a unilateral change to the collective bargaining agreement, 13.0, by changing employees' duties without bargaining. And I see we have had another one announced tonight with the cross-training, which is a unilateral change from the collective bargaining agreement. There's no cross-training in our collective bargaining agreement. That's a mandatory subject of bargaining. These matters, if not resolved, will become unfair labor practices. Board members, I ask you the following. Please provide a response at the next board meeting if you can, or if you turn to pass it down to Dr. Zealot. And I'll email these questions to Patty so she can get them to you. I have a hard copy for you, Mr. Buffalo, after the board meeting, since you don't read emails. Why is the district not directing managers to adhere to the CBA? Why is the district not responding to requests for information? Why does every issue have to go to an investigation? Why is progressive discipline not being followed? How many administrators are investigated by outside investigators? And when the findings are unsubstantiated, are they having written warnings placed in their files because the district needs to find something? Hold your administration account. If you find yourself upset by these questions, or because we keep coming to you, reaching out to you to try to get this place back to a state of balance, if you're upset by that, then you only have yourselves to blame. Hold your administration accountable. You're aware of the disciplinary actions, investigations, terminations. It's time to help us all be better. Take the one-sided blinders off and hold your administrators accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Confidential Management Supervisory Administrator Employees, Ashley Hawkins.
Good morning. It is nice to see you guys on a Friday. I just want to acknowledge that we are at the Friday of the first week of the spring semester, and I think that it is so important to remember that that is the core of what we're here to do. We have had a really successful week, and I have just want to acknowledge the work that was done. I normally, similar to Hal, try to acknowledge someone within the group who has had some accomplishments during the week, but, during the month. But with the fact that we're kicking off the new semester, I really would like to recognize the group as a whole. The work that's been done to kick off this semester has been remarkable. And while we're in a time of uncertainty in the country and there is unrest among our students, they come to us for stability and they come to us for a feeling of safety. And without the amazing faculty, classified staff, and CMSA folks that we have on this campus, our students wouldn't have that. So I just want to acknowledge I'm proud to be a part of this team, and thank you so much for the work that we do.
Thank you. Associated Student Organization, Renee Lynn Wilson. Is she here today? Okay. Antelope Valley College Foundation, Diane Knipp.
Morning, Board, President. I want to thank Hal for a nice plug, because that was one thing I was going to talk about. Wine Walk coming up April 26th. Ticket sales are brisk, so I'm very hopeful our sponsors and others will be very happy with this event again. Scholarship season is still available through February 28th. We're finding that the intercession was pretty active with scholarships. So we have 51 completed already, which is a little ahead of the game, and quite a few applications in process. So I'll be very hopeful that we should have a lot of applicants for our donors. We usually have about 80 to 90 participants reading our scholarships, from community members to yourselves to internal candidates. So I want to say thank you ahead of time because it's coming up again in March. Any questions? Yes.
How much are the scholarships given out? About $200, $400?
The minimum scholarship is $500, and I'll tell you from last year, the average student received anywhere from $1,500 to $1,700 in scholarships.
Ms. Knipp, I have a quick question. How do the Board of Trustees up their donation to the foundation? I know when I was first elected, I signed up to give a portion of anything earned to the foundation, and I would like to increase that.
I'll send you a form that you can do that with. Not a problem. Thank you for that extra help. But remember that the whole board does have your own scholarship as well, so I want to say thank you ahead of time. Again, Michael has said this many times, but I think we are the only ones doing this, so I appreciate your extra support, and then just think about where you'd like it to go. And if you have questions, you and I can chat.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Office of Superintendent President, Dr. Zillette.
Good morning. Before I begin my remarks, I would just like to take a moment and celebrate today. It is an important day in the PAC because Ashley Lopez, hi Ashley, wave at everybody in the back. Ashley's been working for us for a long time, but today is her first board meeting, her first day as a permanent employee at Antelope Valley College. So welcome, Ashley. Thank you for all you do. I also would like to recognize two of our newer people in student services. I see Dr. Wendy Franklin Martinez here. Thank you so much for you and your team in enrollment services, especially this time of the year and getting students in, getting them enrolled, getting them in classes. And Dr. Christina Tangalakis, who is here. I found out, and this is related to the presentation that she and Vice President Padron gave. Today is the last day of the first week of school. Already, 4,400 students have been awarded $5.9 million of financial aid for this semester in this week, and it's been dispersed already. So we are getting money out. I say we very loosely. The people in financial aid and enrollment services are working very diligently to ensure that our students have the finances that they need in order to be successful. So thank you for that. And thank you for working on amendments to ensure that our processes are timely and student-focused. Thank you. So it has been an eventful month and an exciting beginning of spring 2025. We welcome February and we welcome Black History Month. There are events and programs occurring all month long, and for the board's information, you have a sheet at your table here that celebrates Black History Month and all of the events at Antelope Valley College, and I encourage you to please participate and celebrate with employees and students. They're also available on our events calendar. We're at the end of our first week of classes, and our enrollments are strong. We are poised to reach our FTES targets for this academic year, meaning that the hard work of everyone on campus is ensuring access to education for our students in the Antelope Valley. I encourage us to always keep our eyes on our students' goals. Now that they are here and enrolled, we need to ensure that they stay, learn, and successfully complete the semester. One way we do that is to ensure that students know that this is their college. They belong at AVC. Staying focused on student success also means remembering the daily operations of the college revolve around service. Service to our students, service to others. When we serve our students and our colleagues, we are actively promoting acceptance and belonging, which are two important factors in the 6 factors in the student success wheel. I attended the Antelope Valley School Board Association meeting last Monday evening with Trustee Gaines, and on the wall in the gym where we met hung a sign that said, "Before you speak, think." It sounds simple enough, and THINK is an acronym, and this is what it means. Is what I'm about to say true, helpful, inspirational, necessary, kind? If it doesn't pass that test, then it doesn't need to escape our lips. Before anyone protests that they have First Amendment rights to say whatever they want, recognize that the right to do something doesn't mean that it's helpful or necessary. Also recognize that the right to do something doesn't mean that there are not repercussions. It's a law of physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Let's think before we speak. Antelope Valley College is a place of promise. Antelope Valley College opens doors for students and future generations in their families. Antelope Valley College provides not just good jobs, but meaningful work. And that's a combination not always found together. When we tell ourselves the narrative of our work story, put your story to the test. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational? Is it necessary? Is it kind? When you approach students and communicate, put your words to the test. Is what you are about to say true? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational? Is it necessary? Is it kind? When you approach public venues to speak, put your words to the test. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational? Is it necessary? Is it kind? It's actually all right for all of us to triage our speech. And in fact, if we all were to do that, we would see Antelope Valley College soar to new heights. I want to highlight a few upcoming events that showcase our college and the amazing things that are happening here in some meaningful ways. Tomorrow morning, Trustee Gaines and I leave for Washington, D.C. for the Association of Community College Trustees Legislative Week of Action. We will meet with our elected officials and we'll tell the story of Antelope Valley College. and we will advocate for the services and legislation that our students need to be successful. We have already sent college information to our elected officials so that as they're having dialogue about things that are happening right now with regard to financial aid, with regard to grants, with regard to loans, all of those things, not just statistics, but students can be brought before the elected officials for consideration. Another, in 2 weeks' time, Deans Wendy Stout and Greg Borman, VPs Farley Bakit, and I will travel to San Antonio to represent AVC at the Bellwether Awards competition. Based on our digital binder, our table presentation, and our session, we will compete for a national award in the category of CTE Excellence. We were chosen as one of 34 national finalists based on the strength of our baccalaureate programs. Being at this level of selection is already an honor, and I look forward to next month's presentation on the event. A team of AVC representatives led by People, Culture, and Talent participated in the Community College Job Fair in Anaheim, showcasing the openings and attracting potential employees. We are recruiting for, I believe, 17 faculty positions right now. So we are excited for this opportunity to expand our ranks and to bring in more people who are student-focused and eager to help our students achieve their goals. Many thanks to Dean Ben Partee and the committee that put on the recently revived Antelope Valley College Athletic Hall of Fame banquet. The sold-out event was an incredible success, honoring our legacy of excellence in athletics through the years. Such positive interaction between AVC, our alumni, employees past and present, and the community reminds everyone of the history of excellence and continued relevance of this institution. Now more than ever, I encourage us all to hold to the principles of AVC serves: service, equity, resources, vision, education, success, and now more than ever, let's serve students and be kind. Thank you.
Thank you. Board member comments. Student trustee.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second semester. We are back. I've heard from a lot of students that they are very thankful and grateful for the intercession, and it was a great period for them to get their units done before graduation. So thank you to the rest of the board for approving that last year. It's been very successful. But I will say it's been a bit of a shock to go straight from the intercession right back into the new semester. And so good luck to all of us on adjusting. And I'd just like to bring our attention to next Saturday, the 15th, is going to be Science Olympiad here on campus. And it is our annual event that is hosted by the Science Olympiad organization. They come to our campus and they host a wonderful STEM event for all the elementary students, middle school students, and high school students here in the area. We have lots of ABC students volunteering. And if you'd like to come, it's a great display of our talents here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Harvey? Mr. Reeves?
I want to thank all the speakers that got up today, and I welcome all the new employees that we have. I just want to point out that I was watching a webinar this week on the state budget. Governor Newsom has as one of his priorities CTE, and he also has one of his priorities to follow students to make sure they complete their studies. And that's encouraging to the people I know in the audience that spoke about CTE. I'm a firm believer in CTE, and I really believe that CTE will save the community college system in this state. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Ms. Gaines?
Thank you. I too want to say thank you to Dr. Ben Partee. It was a lovely Athletic Hall of Fame event last Saturday, and I really appreciated seeing all of our former coaches and athletes. We had quite a turnout. It was very exciting. So thank you, Dr. Partee, for making that such a successful event, and everyone who worked on that. A week ago today, I brought a team of 8 people to Antelope Valley Community College because, as you've heard, CTE is becoming prevalent in all of the K-12 districts. And in my district in Southern Kern, we passed a bond, so we will be building a 20,000 square foot CTE building. So I wanted to bring a team here because we're better for my team to really get to see the impact of some amazing CTE programs other than right here at Antelope Valley Community College. And I want to give a serious shout out to Dean Greg Borman. Wow. Yeah, his depth and breadth of knowledge on all the pathways, and I know we did not see them all, but we came primarily to learn about the aerospace, because I think it's important, as we all know as educators, that a small percent of our high school graduates will go on to a 4-year or pursue that bachelor's degree. A larger percent of them will want to learn a trade and go into the job force. So I think, to piggyback on what we've heard, Antelope Valley Community College is doing a phenomenal job. When you attend Antelope Valley School Board meetings, you hear other K-12, even K-8 districts talking about how do we get the CTE down at the middle school. And so I just want to say to President Sellett, I want you to know that Dean Borman was, he could talk about all the pathways that he took our team on, and we were just in awe. The medical, the aerospace, the welding, everything. It was absolutely incredible, and I really appreciated his generosity and his time and his knowledge. And he left us by saying, if you need me, if you need help on some more help, whatever you need along the way as our architects came in designing your new building, do not ever hesitate to ask me. So I just wanted you to know, it was a real, I felt so proud. I mean, just hearing him talk, he could go on and on and on. So I know he's probably not here, I can't see, but please make sure he gets that message. And thank you, Mr. Huntsman, for the work the Senate is doing in CTE. That's incredible. It's amazing. We're trying our best to create these transitional pathways from the high schools where our kids can just, transfer right into Antelope Valley Community College. And I think the better we get at, even though I think we're great already, but there's always room to improve, the more our high school students will see this as their next stop. They don't need to go any place further than right here at AVC. So kudos to the Senate for that work. In my school this semester, we're very excited. We're offering 4 dual enrollment classes, AVC. So that's really exciting as we encourage more and more high school seniors to take some early college classes. And I'll close, Mr. Huntsman, by saying that I have my tickets and on me, and I will gladly give 2 tickets today for payment in March. Just saying. Just saying. Thank you.
Mr. Buffalo?
Okay, emails, right? I'm not a fan of emails, I'm sorry. They're not efficient. I am aware of your emails. It's very difficult. I had double eye surgery. It's very difficult for me to read them on the phone, and that's where I get them, okay? So I'm still dealing with Kaiser on it. They're working on it. They're trying to make it better reading. Before I could read great, couldn't see far. Now I can see to drive and everything else, but I have difficulty with the reading portion of it. I actually use a magnifying glass at times to see these things. A lot of the emails I've gotten in the past have been related to personnel issues, right? I can't get into that. I can't engage people with that. as I even indicated to Jason during our coffee the other day. I'm open, I'm willing to meet with people. I met with Hal Huntsman, we had a great conversation, and at least I think it was a great conversation, right, Hal? Good, all right. So it was a good exchange of ideas and information, and I'm pretty easy to communicate with. I'm out here on the campus a lot. People talk to me all the time. I hear all kinds of things that you don't talk about. I hear from other people, and they may be different things. So I do want to say, and I've mentioned it before, we need to get more positive out here. I get it that there's unions and union issues. My God, that hasn't changed in all the years I've been here. They were less in the past, I think because union leadership was different. I had a great relationship to Heidi Pressler. I never agreed with Heidi, but it was a good relationship. Susan Lowry, same thing, and hopefully Jason, the same thing. I just think you need to get more positive. People look at this campus differently than we hear at the mic. Okay, I just talked to some people in the community a week or two ago. They were saying great things about Alibi College. The building, their daughters or sons were here, the programs they're going through, the fact that they got jobs in aerospace because of this, or the medical programs, or transfer. I think you've got to realize how important that is. It's not all about this internal conflict that you guys, and look, it takes two to tango, right? You're not all right. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be very honest, you're not all right. Now, maybe sometimes the administration or the board should look at things differently. I don't know. We try to be open, we try to be fair. But I think this assumption that this is the way and this is the process, and by God, this is the way we interpret the process, your interpretation may be wrong, but you've got to try to be more positive. There's a lot of good things going on here. If you don't believe there's not a lot of things going on here, go out in the community, start talking to those people, because they will tell you. And that is a good barometer. And great for the Hall of Fame. It was a great community event. Sold out again. Older students that have been here years ago, sometimes their kids are here. Sometimes the staff come back. The things they say and interact, it was incredible. So, and the comments and some of the letters we received from people. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. There will be no reason to go back into closed session after this. Our date of next meeting is March 10th, 2025, and we will be at Palmdale. So that's it for today. Thank you very much.